Hey, this is Garvin from Fans Talk Wrestling, and before we start the show, I want to apologize. We're having some technical difficulties. We decided to give Skype another chance, and Skype Skype caused us some well, it gave us some problems. Let's just say that. And also, my internet kept going down throughout the show, so there's some breaks in and out. We tried our best to kind of fill everything in, but just be aware there are some gaps. I'm editing as best as I can, but yeah, there are some problems, and we'll have those resolved by next week, God willing. So thanks for tuning in, and enjoy what we have for a show this week.
Beard.
This is Fans Talk Wrestling, a weekly conversation where fans talk the wrestling world in all of its laughable glory. This is episode 249, was recorded live on January 13th, 2014 on FTWLive.com. Tonight, we're going to discuss Raw Alternative and what we'll be doing next Monday instead of watching WWE Raw. We're also going to be talking about the debut of Impact Wrestling on Destination America and answering your mailbag questions. My name is Garvin, and with us tonight, as always, is Nick. Say hello, Nick.
Settle down there, Ron Burgundy.
Woo! I'm getting hyped. Gotta improve the mood. Because right now the mood kind of sucks. Joe, say hello.
I see our Skype problems are back. All right, because you cut out for me halfway through the intro.
For real.
Yeah, for real.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I'm recording on my side, so at least we'll get my audio on the MP3 recording.
All right, so shut your cockhole.
Yeah, so if you're listening live, say hello and leave your thoughts in the comments here on Mixlr. And if you're listening on demand, reach out to us and let us know what you thought. Check out fanstalkwrestling.com for full show notes and how to get in contact with us. We're going to start off with just some general news and discussion. We don't necessarily do a whole lot of this, talking about ourselves on the podcast very much, but just kind of wanted to update everyone on a few things that took place. The first thing was YouTube. Our YouTube channel was briefly not necessarily taken down, but restricted. So if you are a subscriber on YouTube, you might have noticed that on Wednesday afternoon, FTW249 was taken down because of spam. And it wasn't returned back up until about Thursday night. So most likely you missed it. We saw our numbers down a whole lot for that episode. But yeah, the basic gist was someone flagged the video as spam. And YouTube, I don't think, has any real people, working there. So, the computer saw that someone flagged it as spam, so it thought that the video was spam, and it took it down. But, we appealed, and we won the appeal, and it's back up, and everything's cool. So, shout outs to, Jaron Sperriman, Craig Wash, Animal Z07, B-Megs19, and Deuce over there on YouTube, just for jumping into the comments section on the site, just to back us up and make us feel a little bit happier about the situation. So it was much appreciated. Yeah, that sucked. Really, really bad. So, also, last week we crowned the new Fans Talk TNA champion and the Fans Talk WWE champion. So, basically we're redoing what we started, about 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, FTW163, where we crowned FTW-backed champions. We restarted it, and so we crowned Sami Zayn as our Fans Talk WWE champion. This week he did not compete, so he retained. Bobby Roode, on the other hand, he was crowned as champion, as Fans Talk TNA champion, and he lost to Lashley. So, okay. That's the news. I don't think we really have anything else. Fans Talk TNA, our little 20-minute conversation about TNA is going to be released a day later, so you might see a change in schedule on the podcast feed if you're a subscriber. That's all. So let's jump into the mailbag. Cameron Phillips asked, actually said, and this was in response to us talking about whether or not Raw could be considered a kid show if we're no longer within that demographic. So Cameron Phillips responded on YouTube saying, quote, I have a theory that WWE wants to get rid of all of the older fans so that they can recycle some old storylines and gimmicks. Basically, their life would be easier with the Ascension if the fan base had no idea who the Legion of Doom were. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that WWE is trying to kill off the old and rehash some old storylines?
I don't think so. I mean, why? The idea of killing off fans is ridiculous. Why would you try and lop off an entire fan base? I mean, sure, not everybody's happy about the PG thing, and yeah, they are in a way trying to hit a reset button, but that's insane. It's a very cyclable thing, in being that it's a cycle. Back in the 80s, that's when a lot of us were kids. That's when we grew up with these comedic, these comic book characters all the way through the early 90s. Then we got more aggressive. I think they're just trying to get back to that. And trying to find some way to keep the older fans. I just can't imagine they cut them off because older people need to watch with their kids. Other than that, the audience isn't going to go to Raw. They're not going to go to the pay-per-views if it's just 8 and 10-year-olds who are watching. I mean, unless they're doing WWE on Ice, and then fuck it. I don't think they're trying to truly alienate part of the fan base. I just think we're still seeing a hard time juggling.
Right.
The vibe that they're trying to go for.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense that they would be trying to get rid of fans in order to recycle storylines. Like Diva Jill says in the chat, it's not like they've ever done that. It's not like that's ever stopped them from recycling storylines anyway. I don't see the idea that the WWE wants to get rid of fans, regardless of how much of a pain in the ass some of them are.
Yeah, Nick.
Yeah. There are two sides to that issue. The WWE does need to do a better job presenting stuff. So it's obvious that some things are meant for kids, some things are meant for the hardcore fan, some things are meant for the casual fan. But it's also equally true that some fans need to do a better job of realizing that parts of the show simply aren't intended for them. They have their stuff with Daniel Bryan and whatever bonus thrown to Dolph Ziggler and the like. And then there's just some stuff that's just not intended for them.
All right, moving on from that. On episode 17 of Deuce on Wrestling on our YouTube channel, Deuce suggested that the idea that WWE would eventually have to cancel the network if they go another year without meeting their goals, their financial goals, their subscriber goals. So do you think there's any chance that is at all accurate? Will WWE consider canceling the network?
I would think they'd readjust their goals first before they shut down the whole thing they poured limitless resources into.
Yeah, they've put so much money into the network and they've hyped it up, and it's been this huge dramatic thing to get it to the UK. If they cancel it within a year, dude, their stock is just going to drop. They thought they had problems before. Fuck.
Yeah, that's definitely the death of WWE. If the network fails, yeah, there's no way to bounce back from that.
How hilarious would it be if they keep putting it off in the UK until they just say, you know what, fuck the network, we're dropping this, and the UK never gets it?
That would actually be really awesome.
Lee would have an aneurysm.
Yeah.
That would imply that Lee is alive.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't see that happening. I see, like you said, Joe, I see their goals kind of shifting almost. But to me, this is the future. This is the future of where TV's going. They're gonna eventually not want to be on TV. They're gonna want to put a majority of their content on a network. At least that's where I want it to go, and where I assume it's going to go. Especially when you see HBO releasing their own app so that you can watch programming without having to go through a cable company. I think it was at CES this year. Maybe it was Sony Sling or something like that. Where you can basically get, ESPN and a handful of other channels streamed over the internet to you. So you wouldn't have to get a cable, or you wouldn't have to go through the cable company to get that content. So realistically, this is the direction WWE needs to go. So yeah, I just see it shifting as well.
From the live chat, Deuce is bringing up the XFL as comparison. The XFL and the network are two totally different situations. For one, there is no competition for the network right now, whereas the XFL was fighting an incredibly uphill battle against a long-established giant in football. So, not really the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, technically there is competition for the network. I mean, as far as like wrestling content goes, New Japan released their wrestling app thing. I don't know much about it, but I know they did that. But as far as like where WWE suggests where their competition are, I mean, NFL has their own network, which includes, online streaming. Same thing with Major League Baseball. So, I think there is other groups out there that are succeeding. So there's no reason why WWE cannot succeed doing the same thing. But
Yeah, my point was that the XFL was a incredibly risky startup.
Oh, sure.
In this analogy, the WWE network is the NFL of its particular area. New Japan is more akin to, or New Japan World is more akin to the XFL in this scenario.
Yeah, I mean, XFL going up against NFL, that was never going to succeed. It was entertaining for sure, but yeah, it was never it was never a long-term plan. But the network is a completely different beast. So, Ishmael Carmichael asked on the Facebook group, which tag team division rocks more right now, WWE or TNA?
I actually think the WWE tag division is more exciting right now. Simply due to the fact that we've raised this a lot, both on this show and Fans Talk TNA. There simply aren't enough bodies in TNA's tag division right now to really live up to what it can do with the Wolves. With the WWE, you've got the Usos, you've got Miz and Mizdow, you've got Golden Stardust, you've got the new team of Kid and Cesaro, the Masters of the Universe. There are tag teams all over the place forming in not necessarily disbanding, but new teams being formed all the time. We haven't seen that yet in TNA. So at the moment, it's got to be the WWE.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the WWE as well. I mean, they've got, not only do they have tag teams who are active right now, I mean, you've got the Usos, you've got Mizdow, Miz and Mizdow, you've got the Ascension, you've got guys in NXT who are ready to come up. We've got Cesaro and Kid who are making some waves. I mean, you've got some potential there. So I'm gonna go with that. I think their depth is a little deeper.
Yeah, as far as potential goes, WWE definitely is there, especially if you do consider NXT being in that system. There's definitely a lot more guys, or at least teams available in WWE. We might not necessarily like where they're going with things, but there's more hope there. TNA, I don't necessarily have that hope. It's odd how things kind of turned out for the TNA Tag Team Championship, that whole title race, because like we left 2014 really excited about how things were going, and now it's kind of languishing almost, just because you've got two teams, So.
Yep. With that said, I do anticipate a tag team coming out of the new Beatdown Clan, and I'm sure, well, maybe not sure, but Nux and Crazy Steve probably could make a decent tag team now that the Freak is gone.
Only time will tell. So we'll see. We'll see. I think this is a good question to reassess, maybe a couple months down the road and see how things are going. Ridge Coffee on the Facebook group asked, when Kevin Owens is called up to the main roster, do you guys think that the PG era will kill his character?
No, not in the slightest. NXT isn't under any more restriction than the main roster is, and Kevin Owens is exploding right now. If he does change when he makes the main roster up, it's not the PG era that'll do it. It's booking. And PG has nothing to do with it, basically.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to change much because he's just like an aggressive guy. You know, he's a powerhouse, a dominator. He's just ruthless. Ruthless can still be PG. It's not like he's coming out and, fuck the Hulk Hogan. I am going to piss blood on you. Yeah, he bled, but I mean it's not like he's got like the Sandman gimmick of I'm an alcoholic and I'm going to beat my head until I bleed. Oh yeah, and then I'm going to work the match. It's just different.
Yeah.
Just because he's a machine doesn't mean he's going to be extreme.
Yeah, and I'm not really seeing that happening right now with him in NXT. Like, as far as the transition goes, I can't see why they would need to make a change, only because we've had such a limited view of Kevin Owens in NXT. Like, I know I know a lot of people are referring to, at least Ridge Coffee is probably referring to, just the fact that Kevin Steen and Kevin Owens are very similar, almost the same, when he made that transition. So would he have to transition again to go onto the main roster? I don't know. I don't see a reason why. But then again, we don't necessarily see a reason why they have to change anyone going up to the main roster, and they always do. So, but I don't think it will kill the character. But I think we will see changes that we probably will not like.
Oh, almost certainly.
So real quick, just want to clarify something before we move on. Live chat is reminding us that there are more than 2 teams in the TNA tag team division, and I think we realize that. You've got the potential for Kenny King to team up with either Joe or Low Key right now, or Joe and Low Key teaming up. You've also got the Bromans. So yeah, obviously there are other guys there. You've also got the Hardys. But it's just a matter of what's happening with the title race right now. It's only these 2 teams. So even though there are other teams around, no one seems to be really getting involved in that title race just yet. That's why I'm suggesting we wait, a month or 2 to see where things progress before we really answer this question.
Yeah, I highly doubt the Bromans are going to be anywhere near the tag titles for a while yet.
Hey, they started off 2014 as champions, so you never know.
And they started out 2015 as valets for the beautiful people.
All right, let's talk a little WWE. I guess we can start off with some Royal Rumble talk. I know Royal Rumble is in a week and a half, thereabouts. So we're going to be previewing it in whole next week on FTW250. So tune in for that. But just kind of wanted to take a look at the card right now. Right now we've got Cena and Rollins. I'm sorry, Cena versus Rollins versus Lesnar in the WWE Championship match. And then we also have the main Royal Rumble match. So a lot of names are being thrown out right now as far as potential winners, a lot of rumors. Some are saying Roman Reigns is going to get it. Others are saying Daniel Bryan. I've seen Randy Orton's name thrown in there. And then about 2 hours ago, I think on a Bleacher Report story, I saw the name Dean Ambrose as the new favorite. So overall, last year's card, we had 5 matches in total, which included the pre-show. So the tag team championships were defended. The WWE championship was defended. And then the Royal Rumble got a majority of it. I think the Royal Rumble match was, an hour long. The WWE championship match, I think, went about 20 minutes. Everything else, was about 5 to 10 minutes. So, are you looking forward to this card right now as it stands?
Yeah, as it stands right now, I think it's going to shape up to be pretty decent. I imagine we'll get another tag team title match. I don't expect the IC or US titles to get defended here. Maybe a Divas title match. I could see that. But as it stands right now, I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we're only looking at a couple of matches, but, yeah, I mean, we may get, like you said, we may get a tag team match. definitely, I think we're going to get a Divas match because otherwise we don't have any women on this card unless they inject somebody into the Rumble itself, like we have with like Beth Phoenix or Karma. Or,
we won't be seeing Karma this year.
No, we won't. I can hear my wife weeping upstairs. But yeah, I think it's going to be a decent card. I think they're going to give each match a decent amount of time. If they do an Intercontinental Championship match, I think we're going to see Harper versus Ziggler versus somebody like, I don't know, Cesaro. Maybe.
Well, should know. I mean, like Rusev, Bray Wyatt, Bad News Barrett, Dean Ambrose, Goldust, and Stardust. They've all entered into the Rumble match. So you might see some of those guys pull double duty. I mean, if we see Dolph in a match, it'll probably be with Bad News Barrett, I'd imagine, for the title.
But I could also see them throwing Harper into that as well.
True.
He's been involved recently as well. That being said, I mean, that's a possibility, but yeah, no, I just give as much time as possible to the Rumble. That's what we want to see. Who cares about the rest of this shit? Even though they're going to do Cena, Rollins, Lesnar, this is the one time I think they would actually put the WWE Championship after the Rumble.
I don't know.
Lesnar?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I hope not though. I hope the final match is the Rumble. Last year the final match was the Rumble, which was just an awful way to end the pay-per-view though, by the way. But we did see, the year before that, 2013, the final match was CM Punk versus The Rock. So it's possible. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Also to note, last year we did not get a Divas match, so it's not guaranteed that we will. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, but we actually have talent now.
Yeah.
Page.
Well.
Talent that's being highly spotlighted.
Yeah, maybe. Whatever. I don't know.
Were the Bellas back last year?
Last year, yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. That's Royal Rumble. We're gonna preview it in whole next week on FTW250, which will be a fun conversation. But some other things happened this week on Raw, and as well as just general programming notes from WWE worth talking about. The first, obviously, Macho Man finally going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Are you guys stoked about this?
Hell yeah. How can you not be stoked about the motherfucking Macho Man getting into the Hall of Fame? Things can be said about who's inducting him just because, really, Hogan? I get it being one half of the Mega Powers, in the WrestleMania 5 main event, but I don't know. I would rather see somebody else do it.
Yeah, was that officially confirmed that Hogan's going to be doing it?
Yes, it was officially confirmed.
Okay. Yeah, because I know a lot of people are angry about it. So, as far as should we all be positive about this? Yes. Is the IWC finding something to be negative about? Yes.
Yes.
Everyone's
like, well, it should be like Lanny Poffo to induct him. No, Lanny's going to be accepting the induction for him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, I mean, he's going to come out and give the speech that obviously Randy can't. But, he's going to be the talking head. Just like when Paul Bearer was inducted. His family accepted the induction. But people were saying DDP should be the one to induct him. I don't get that one at all. That being said, I did not watch a whole lot of WCW.
Yeah.
I never got to see much WCW, so maybe they had a lot of interaction. I don't know because I was never a big WCW guy because I couldn't get it because I didn't have fucking cable growing up. But yeah, no, I love the fact that Macho Man's going in. Very well deserved. I mean, that if they actually built a facility, you almost have to name a wing after the man. The man was phenomenal. How many fantastic matches did he give? How many public appearances?
Right.
I mean, he was an icon. He was a bigger icon than Hogan. He's he's going to talk like this, yeah. He's going to get up all up in your business, yeah. And he's going to snap in your Slim Jim. You're going to like it, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm going to kiss it. It's going to be, he was like just the legend. If you had to take a photo of a WWE legend from like beginning to end, you know, to current day, Macho Man has to be in the top 3.
Definitely. What was your guys' thoughts on how WWE announced this though? As far as like, they went almost like dirt sheet wrestling news site style where they're like, you know, I think the headline was WWE expected to induct, Macho Man Randy Savage into the Hall of Fame tonight on Raw. Like that was like their headline. Why do you think they went in that direction before the show instead of just announcing it on the show?
Because they wanted to raise viewership. That's the only thing. Because the only other reason to go, it's rumored they're going to add Macho Man to the class of 2015. He'll be the first one in the class of 2015. If you're not actually going to just straight up do it and use that to draw in ratings, you're going to turn around and go, no, we're going to induct fucking Zack Ryder instead. You know, I mean, the only 2 reasons to hype the show that they're going to do it in, or B, pull a swerve.
Yeah, and with the authority and power right now, I could definitely see that swerve thing having happened.
Yeah, and if they did the swerve, he would still be inducted into that class. He would just be one of the last people they actually announce.
That's an awful scenario.
Well, I never said it was a good scenario.
Oh, right,
yeah.
I'm just saying, out of the options, that's what you had.
Yeah, and you know, I should be clear. I didn't watch Raw this week. Diva Jill's throwing it out in the live chat, like throughout a majority of the show before they actually made the official announcement. On the commentary of the team, they kept building it up that way that, you know, it was basically rumored that they were going to make that announcement. But yeah, I don't know. That's just a weird way to go about it. I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't think it is a good thing because I'm sitting here questioning why they would go this route instead of just making the announcement. You know, I like if they made the announcement before Raw, you know, if it was to get viewers from the national championship game or, you know, to bump up the ratings for Raw, if they made the announcement before Raw, I think that would have helped as well. Cause that's basically what they did. They just worded it this way. Just weird.
I think it actually makes a little more sense than we're giving it credit for, simply because of the fact that if they leave it in question, you've got people thinking, well, if they don't announce it or they say he's not going in, then I have something to be pissed off about and I'm going to rage about it on social media. Whereas Randy Savage is being inducted in the 2015 Hall of Fame class. That's pretty definitive. There's not room for speculation. There's not as much room for talk on social media about it. So yeah, I think that was the main thrust of it.
And if they said, oh yeah, tonight on Raw, Randy is being inducted, people were like, cool, I'm watching the football game. This adds that stupid speculation that there's a slim chance they might not do it because the authority's coming back.
I don't know, because I'm
slim chance or Slim Jim chance. That was terrible. I apologize.
I'm just comparing this in my mind to like something else that like was announced before it happened, and that is #it happened. Like TNA spent the entire week building up the fact that it happened on their show, as far as Bully Ray powerbombing Dixie Carter through a table. Like I think,
and we had the video 6 weeks before it aired.
Yeah, I think them like promoting it that way helped viewership. It helped make that feel special. This, I think they could have handled the same way and got the same, or at least a better result almost. You know, I think more people are going to tune in knowing that they are going to induct them, because you want to see, you want to see what people have to say about it, just because there's been so much controversy over Savage and WWE's relation. So, you know, I don't know.
For the announcement of the induction, I don't think so. For the induction itself, certainly, but for the announcement, just saying they will, I don't know.
I don't know. Well, #it happened. So, all right. Daniel Bryan is back in action, this upcoming week. It's going to be Thursday SmackDown. SmackDown is officially moving to Thursday. I guess the understanding is this is going to increase viewership on SmackDown. But do you think this is a good move to basically, you know, not only, put Daniel Bryan's first match on SmackDown versus the Royal Rumble. But also, do you think this is going to increase viewership?
I think it will, and it's obvious that they're trying to rebuild SmackDown just by the way they're having these sorts of big events happen on SmackDown. And it lends a little bit of credence to that rumor that they are trying to rebuild sort of a soft brand split. If Daniel Bryan becomes the face of SmackDown, I'd be more inclined to watch SmackDown. On the other hand, his return match is against Kane, so...
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not an ambulance match.
Oh, God.
But no, here's the thing that gets me, and this kind of jumps into the entire CM Punk interview where they talked about him being rushed back. Where he's just like, yeah, I just had eye surgery, and I'm still hugely injured from, I forget what, was it his knee, or was it his arm, or shoulder, or elbow, or whatever?
An elbow thing.
Elbow, whatever it was. And they're like, oh yeah, you're wrestling next week. Or you're wrestling tonight. And he's like, no, I'm not. And they're like, no, you are. He's like, I'm not even cleared. I've got at least 8 weeks before I'm cleared. And they're like, no, you're wrestling. You're making an appearance at the Royal Rumble in 2 days. Or, in 2 weeks or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really praying that Daniel Bryan isn't being rushed back too early. I get that he's ready for the Rumble. And this just happened. His first wrestling match back just happens to coincide with the time change for SmackDown for the date, the date switch.
Yeah.
That's a little rough. Raises the question as to what's really going on. Will I watch SmackDown? I'll fast forward through SmackDown to watch this stuff.
Yeah, I'll probably tune in for this as well. Not if only because I do want to watch the Daniel Bryan match, but I'm also interested in some of the other changes they're making. I do want to see how Lawler does without JBL around. Or is JBL Raw only now?
I haven't watched SmackDown in forever. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if Lawler is replacing JBL on SmackDown, or I guess I'll have to tune in to find out.
I think Lawler was replacing Phillips. Someone in the live chat, let me know if that sounds accurate to you. But I thought that's what I read, that they got rid of the guy that they just brought up to do it.
Yeah, I know Tom Phillips is gone, so that would put Cole on play-by-play. I hope JBL isn't on SmackDown anymore, because I would not be interested, but I'd at least like to see how Cole and Lawler work together solo or by themselves. It's been a long time since I've heard that, and without them constantly sniping at JBL and getting sniped back by JBL, I think it might be a little better. I don't know.
See, JBL, I like JBL on commentary. I realize I'm in the extreme minority. But I actually do like him on commentary. So I would rather have them get rid of the third man and have it be like Cole and JBL.
Yeah.
To me, that's more of a dream team than anything involving Lawler or Booker T. I'm just waiting for Booker T to let loose a shucky ducky quack quack. Because, that's all we need from him.
Yeah, I don't know. Diva Jill's saying she hates JBL. For the most part, I hate JBL, but I think I mostly, I think it's just who he's going up with. Him and Lawler, I don't like. I don't like that combination, but, JBL and Cole, they have a really good chemistry together. So if it was just the two of them, I agree, Joe. I think that would be a wonderful combination. I don't know where Booker T fits in there. I don't know how Lawler is going to help the SmackDown team. By the way, Byron Saxton is being moved up to SmackDown. So it's going to be Byron Saxton, Michael Cole, and Jerry Lawler.
If Byron Saxton is doing play-by-play, which I think this would be his first time doing it, then maybe this could be okay, but Byron Saxton is an awful color commentator. I'm not excited about that at all.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but like you guys, I haven't watched SmackDown in a while. And as far as Daniel Bryan being brought over for the night, that's not going to make me watch SmackDown. I might fast forward through it, like you guys said, but yeah.
May have to watch SmackDown on mute.
You know, one of these days we need to pick a show on the network since, SmackDown and Raw don't get on the network for like a month and a half at least, which is the biggest tragedy of the fucking network.
Yeah.
But we need to pick a show, sit down, and record our own commentary.
I think that'd be cool.
I'm okay with this.
That could be a lot of fun, actually.
I'd be totally down with that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's put some plans together. Everyone who's listening, either live or on demand, send us some ideas as far as like what events you want us to commentate on. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Also suggest voices.
Voices. As far as us using voices that are not our own?
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting to hear us commentate as William Regal.
Do we just bring in Lee?
No, Dinosaur Lee.
No. Fuck that. We've got to have an American do the British accent and have Lee listen to it.
We need to. Okay, so it's Harrison and.
There you go.
Bring in the Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah. It's gonna fuck you in the asshole. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's WWE. So like, as you guys know, and, I know you guys are feeling the same way, but generally speaking, the Facebook group, pretty much the entire internet has grown very sour on WWE as of late, as have we. I mean, I think for me, I haven't watched, admittedly, I have not watched Raw since 2014. I don't know. I'm almost waiting until the Royal Rumble, like after the Royal Rumble, because that's when things are normally getting more interesting because we're closer to WrestleMania. So that's when like the good programming comes back. But I don't know. I'm kind of torn on when I will come back full force on Raw. But yeah, okay. So because of that, and obviously we're gonna spend a little bit more time next week on WWE just because this is gonna be a Royal Rumble pre-show. But like you, we've been looking for alternatives, and one of those alternatives will be happening this upcoming Monday, January 19th. It is hashtag Raw Alternative. It's a show being put on by, Beyond Wrestling and Interspecies Wrestling. And it's basically just it is a collection of the greatest matches that happened, I think, in 2014. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but I think it's a collection of the best matches of 2014 from various organizations. Right? 2014?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. So, we're gonna get Young Bucks versus the Super Smash Brothers from Smash Wrestling. Ricochet versus Josh Alexander from Alpha One Wrestling. Chris Hero versus Colin Delaney. That's the match I want to watch, actually. That's from TCW Squared Circle Wrestling. Johnny Gargano versus Ethan Page from Absolute Intense Wrestling. Oh, Watanabe versus Andy Dalton from Inspire Pro. Did I get that name right?
Takaki Watanabe.
Watanabe.
I'm glad I didn't have to try that.
I skipped over the first name after a brief 2-second pause. Also get Ninjas with Attitude versus the Food Fighters, courtesy of Interspecies Wrestling. And just announced today,
I
which
expect you to say interspecies erotica. I've been watching Clerks 2 too much.
Just announced about 3 hours ago. We're recording this on Tuesday night. The main event right now, or maybe it's not the main event. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they've announced the main event, but the new match that was just announced today, Eddie Kingston versus Keith Walker from AAW Pro's Windy City Classic X. So, if you search for hashtag Raw, man, I cannot say it, Raw Alternative. So, combination of Raw and Alternative. If you search for that on Facebook, there's an event there. Every time they get like 1,000 more people subscribing, or not subscribing, but RSVPing, they're adding another match. So,
well, they'll be announcing a new match every day of the week leading up to the 19th now.
Oh, okay.
They recently announced that.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, it's going to be a huge event. We've got, I think right now we've got about 2 hours worth of content. I think they want to get that to at least 4. So yeah, it sounds really cool. We've posted the event link on our Facebook page, and We've been tweeting it and putting it on Google Plus. It's really cool. Nick and I, as well as Diva Jill in the live chat, some other of our listeners on Twitter were telling us they joined as well. But last night during Raw, there was a test run. So basically, they streamed on YouTube a test run just to make sure that they've got all their stuff squared away. So there was a live chat over there, and it was very fun, very cool.
Yeah, I saw a small bit of it, and that was awesome.
Yeah, that 4-way tag team match was excellent. Team Tremendous, EYFBO, the Hoods, the Minutemen. Excellent match, nonstop action. I love Team Tremendous. They have such a great gimmick.
Okay, so why is this good? Let's start there. Overall, we've been talking about, if you don't like WWE, find an alternative. More and more companies are standing up to try and take that brass ring, if you will, to be the alternative company. So overall, an event like this, Nick, why is this a good thing?
It gives people that haven't watched indies wrestling before a incredibly viable, incredibly easy way to dip their toe into the water. And it's basically a best of compilation. So this is some of the best that's happened in the indies thus far. Like Young Bucks versus Super Smash Brothers. That's going to be an excellent tag team match. Both incredibly good teams. Ricochet, Chris Hero, Johnny Gargano, Eddie Kingston. Those are all some of the best guys on the indies right now. And I highly doubt this will do anything to dilute the bitching online about Raw, but at least there's another reason to stop it now with Raw Alternative. And I hope something like this continues, because we do need alternatives. We need alternatives that people see and take advantage of.
Yeah, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about it because, we've been talking about, another company needs to step up and give us, wrestling that's enjoyable, on a Monday. And we saw, I think it was Beyond Wrestling's American Rana show, this, for their test run, on this week's Monday. And overall, it was a good show, but the turnout really wasn't that good. I think, I stayed in the chat for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And I want to say it capped out at about 350 people watching at a time. So I'm kind of concerned there that, you said,
up a lot more.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. They announced that there was at least 3,000 people by the end of, the event.
And you didn't stay? You didn't stick around to the end?
I didn't stay till the very end, but they did announce that.
Interesting. I wonder what the delay was.
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how long it lasted, but maybe more people piled in after Raw was over.
Yeah, it could have been that, or the championship game, the college football game, I think, was over by.
And I think they did the test. I mean, they did the test kind of low key. I don't remember ever seeing.
Yeah, it was very short notice.
Yeah. So yeah, I think once people started looking,
true.
Oh crap, and then.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. I didn't see it until maybe half an hour before, and that was posted on our Google Plus community. So yeah, I think overall, if they promoted it better, which they have promoted the official Raw Alternative event. They've been promoting it for about 2 months now. So, I think overall it should get a good turnout, especially if people are for real wanting not only a quality wrestling alternative, but something that's free online that they can stream. This is it. This is like perfect because it's a free event. You're going to have access to watch it on YouTube. And hopefully they retain that live chat that they had, this week during the test. It didn't sound like they did that for the first 2 tests, but having it there and being able to talk to people was really cool.
Yeah. And I sincerely hope Chikara is featured in here because that's a promotion that needs more eyes on it. Hands down.
Maybe that's, maybe we need a couple more thousand people attending to get that.
Yeah. I mean, if they're going to be announcing a new match every day, that's 6 more matches and we've already got 7 matches in total. So
There's 2,000 going and 11,000 who are invited.
Yeah.
So, and only 332 said maybe. So, hey.
Some assholes out there need to respond to their invites.
For real. So yeah, overall, it's exciting. It's exciting to see it like an indie promotion, or not just one indie promotion, but a collection of indie promotions get together to try and do this. This is really out of the box thinking, and I hope it does well. I hope it really does well. But we should talk about some of the negatives. So like why is this a bad thing, or why is how they're doing it a bad thing? So I don't know, Nick, if you have anything to add to this, but my list, as far as the live chat goes, there was a little fight that I got into with some guy, because I have openly admitted that I have no idea who any of these people are. I don't. It's hard for me to get into wrestling. Like, you can watch an awesome wrestling match and then follow that up with an awesome wrestling match and follow that up with an awesome wrestling match. But after an hour of that, I start to get kind of bored because I don't understand what that match meant, you know? So having video packages in between, or having some kind of build up, before the event to explain, you know, why this match is important, how the wrestlers got here. Just, you know, some kind of like 2 to 3 minute video package in between every match, I think would suffice. So I asked that in the live chat, during the first match or second match. I was like, I don't understand why this match is important. Is there anything I could do to like research, or, you know, are they going to show video packages? And how dare I imply that this random indie match to me, wasn't important. So yeah, so there is a little of that as far as negativity.
And you call yourself a wrestling fan, for fuck's sake.
I know. So there is a little negativity. I guess I was very WWE fanboyish for wanting a video package to explain a match for me. But, you know, I think that would be very helpful. So I don't think they have that planned, but I think they should. You know, look at NJPW, the Wrestle Kingdom 9. Before that event, they really built up every match. They had Matt Striker promote every match and explain to you why it was important, why it was happening, and why you should be, you know, excited to watch this match. You know, that's what I would like to see for this, because this is an introduction to me and many wrestling fans who are, you know, crossing over from WWE or wherever they're coming from. So that's one thing. I'd like to see that. I'd also like to see less negativity from the hipster indie fans that know what this is all about and why this is important. Like, you know, I don't. So help me understand. I'm obviously interested in watching this event with you, so don't be a dick. Help me out. The other thing is, this isn't like a live event, so I think that kind of bothers me, you know, in that it's matches I probably could find online elsewhere. They're matches that happened all year, so it's kind of like a best of style event instead of a live pay-per-view, or, you know, like that type of quality. So I don't know. I think that's kind of bothersome to me, but not, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. What do you guys think about that, as far as them not doing a live show, but a quote unquote live replay?
Right now, I'm fine with the best of kind of format, because they know they have the content. They don't have, it's really limiting what equipment and the timing and everything like that. Like, they can already have the show good to go and basically hit play, and it'll have all the good editing and everything like that. They could just hit play and at least stream it out. If they do that a few times and then want to try and do a live show, that would be cool. But I mean, they're going to have, you know, it's that practice thing and making sure all the technical glitches are out. I think this is one step toward that direction, but I think if they went full hog, then you could possibly get bad audio and they're not ready for it. You're going to get bad video, or, you know, equipment doesn't work, or, you know, I just think this is the test before we get into that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, what you're talking about wanting, Garvin, is what FWE did with their Refueled show. And you might remember they had tons of audio glitches, times where commentary wasn't live for several minutes at a time. This way, they've already gotten a lot of the work preloaded. Like it's a lot easier than just having a huge live show. So yeah, like Joe said, this might be ramping up to something where they actually do have a live broadcast of a pay-per-view shot from Beyond Wrestling or AIW or 2CW or wherever. So this absolutely makes sense. And as far as a super show nature of it, like that's exactly what it's intended to highlight, is the best of the indies that people haven't seen before.
Sure.
Yeah, there's the whole issue of you might not be aware of the fact that maybe Chris Hero and Colin Delaney have been feuding for a while in that particular promotion, so you might not be aware of that. On the other hand, indie wrestling, barring a few exceptions like Chikara, indie wrestling has never been storyline heavy, not to the degree that the WWE or TNA has been. So even if you've been watching that promotion, that feud unfold for a long, long time, it doesn't get more detailed than this guy was a dick to me, so I'm going to beat his ass,
right,
or this guy jumped me at the end of a match, so now I'm going to take revenge. It's just not going to be that storyline heavy. So you have to care from what they're doing in the ring, the story they're telling with that match. So yeah, I definitely see your point. And if you don't know who they are, it's harder to care. But if they're having decent commentary, like they did for the American Rana show last night, I think that'll help ameliorate that some.
Yeah. And real quick, props to, again, I don't know names, so I don't know who it was that was on commentary, but the single man commentary team, the guy carried it the entire time. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, something Denver. I can't remember his name either.
John Denver. I don't know.
All right. So, but yeah, that is Raw Alternative, hashtag Raw Alternative. We'll be tweeting it out. We've posted everywhere that we post. We'll have it in the show notes as well if you want a quick link to the Facebook event if you don't like searching. So yeah, we'll have that, but that's most likely what we'll be doing. We'll be watching that live. Nick, I know I will be. Nick, you probably will be as well.
Yeah. He's
I'll check out the Alternative.
Drew Cordero. Drew Cordero is the commentator, although he also goes by Denver, Colorado.
Yeah. I think that's what they were calling him in the live chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does all the Beyond Wrestling shows.
Cool. All right, so let's move on from that, and let's talk a little Destination Impact. Impact Wrestling's debut on Destination America. Overall, did you like the debut? Did it meet your expectations, go above your expectations, or what?
It certainly met my expectations. I don't necessarily know about exceeding it, but yeah, it was definitely a good show overall. I think that Josh Matthews did a great job with his debut on commentary. There were returns that I popped for incredibly hard. Awesome Kong coming back and staring down Havoc. That was a great moment.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of interesting directions going forward, particularly with the Revolution, with the formation of MVP's Beatdown Clan. That it's very interesting moving forward.
Well, yeah, you've got the return of Angle. So Angle is back on the active roster. Many are saying this is his final year as an active wrestler, so it'd be really interesting to see what happens. I think him feuding with MVP is a nice kickoff of that. Like you said, Taz and Josh Matthews, that combination turned out to be very good, I thought. Overall, I thought Josh Matthews added a nice flavor to it. Not really so much excited. He was kind of like laid back a little bit. So, I don't know, it definitely sounded different, but it also seemed to bring a different Taz, to the commentary team. So I don't know if it's just a matter of, they're still trying to get that rapport where they're joking back and forth, but overall, like, it was more serious, more into the match itself and the story that was being told in the ring or, on mic or whatever. So I thought they added a nice touch. Awesome Kong returning. Obviously, that was a huge surprise unless you we're on Facebook about an hour before. Thanks, Deuce. But yeah, overall, I thought that was fantastic. So unexpected. As far as what we know outside of, what we see on TV, it seemed like Awesome Kong was never going to go back to TNA. And then here she is. And, that really sparked my interest in the Knockouts division again. I mean, I have not hid the fact that I don't like the direction that the Knockouts have been going. There's no real competition, outside of Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim. I thought they've pretty much failed at really building up the rest of the roster, including Havoc. So having Awesome Kong come in, I think is a really, really cool thing.
I completely agree with that.
My fail from TNA though this week, is actually the X Division. Austin Aries is your X Division champion. I think this is awful. I like Austin Aries. Don't get me wrong. I think he's an awesome wrestler. I love seeing him work a match. I love seeing him on the mic. But what he has done over the last year to the X Division is nothing but negative. He's basically trashed the title every time he's had an opportunity to get it, because, it's not about being X Division champion with him. It's about turning this title into a world title shot. And I think that hurts the division so much.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, he always gets it. Option C. I gotta keep it so I can do option C. Fuck option C. Fuck you for not wanting to build up that title. Build the title. It's not always about the world heavyweight picture.
Yeah. So if they're going to continue this story where, you have the option to turn in the X Division title to become world champion, I think this is a huge mistake by TNA. This is like the only negative thing I have to say about Destination Impact is this. But if they're going to change that and they make it more important and Austin Aries is actually contributing to the X Division, not detracting from it, then this could be a very cool thing as well.
Yeah, do you really think Aries is going to hold on to that belt from now till Destination X? I highly doubt it.
You never know, though.
He's already had his record-breaking title reign, and I don't think at all that they're going to try and duplicate that. I think he's going to have a short reign, just like most X Division champions do. I don't know if it'll be Low Key that takes it back or maybe someone else, but I don't think Aries will be holding on to that belt for very long, not with the shift in the balance of power with Low Key and Samoa Joe joining MVP.
Yeah, it's just so hard to predict where they're going with things, especially with Samoa Joe and Low Key potentially effectively moving out of the X Division just because they're going to be concentrated on the story. I mean, maybe they'll do something different with MVP's group where, they're not just, building a group to secure the World Heavyweight Championship, but maybe they're building a group to take over TNA. I think that would be a nice change of pace for what they've done with MVP so far. But, it's just so hard to predict. This is the first show. There's been a lot of resets. There's a lot of new directions they should go. So again, if they're changing how they've been handling Austin Aries as X Division champion, then I'm okay with this. But if this is the same thing that we've seen with him before, I think this is pointless and only hurts the credibility of that championship. But we'll see. It's all about perception at this point.
Yeah, while we're talking about the Beatdown Clan, which I imagine is going to be the official name since MVP has kept saying that on Twitter. I imagine that we will finally get a heel faction that actually secures all the gold. We haven't seen that in years, and I never understood why. If you're going to dominate the top of the card with a faction, how else do you legitimize them except have them hold all of the keys to power?
Right.
All the title belts. So I think that they might actually be angling toward that.
And it would be good to see. And the other nice thing about this group is that, as far as heel factions trying to take over a company in some fashion, I mean, unlike aces and eights, like this group, you want to see on top of the card. You want to see all of these guys succeed, and because they're all very good, individually. So
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a group that you can see on the top of the card.
yeah,
Not like Nux and Doc or with Immortal, not like Gunner.
yeah. So I think this more closely resembles, and I can't think of what they were called. Was it? It wasn't Immortal. It was the Main Event Mafia, the last rendition with Magnus and Samoa Joe, Angle, that combination, Sting and some, somewhat, but yeah, it's another group like that where it's like a lot of guys that you want to see succeed and do well, and you want to see hold titles. So yeah, I think this is very cool. But yeah, outside of that though, the only other major, there's a lot of major things that happen. I guess, there's the JB slap of EC3, which then led to, Borash losing hair. He got shaved in the middle of the ring. Which, if you have an opportunity, check out.
Did they take it from his back?
No, they shaved his head.
Because he didn't really have much on his head.
No, it wasn't a lot of hair. But, if you have an opportunity, check out TNA's, YouTube channel. I think it's youtube.com/Impact Wrestling. And they've got a video there of JB getting the rest of his hair, shaved off, cause when you do it in the ring, you're just doing like one stripe, right? But this was like full shave of the head. There's no sound other than you hear the buzzing of the clippers. Yeah. But you just see the emotion go through JB's face. Like he's angry and he's distressed and he's disappointed and he's angry again. And it's just, it's a good way to tell a story or, express emotion just through facial expression. It's very cool. But who knows where that's going to lead to? Like right now, I don't know how this affects JB or if JB gets involved in other ways now, but this is just leading to the payoff as far as I can see of Rockstar Spud versus EC3. So I'm not sure when they'll get to that. They've been teasing that and building that for the last 2-3 months now. Maybe closer to 4 months. So yeah, should be interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea how Spud is going to come back against EC3 and Tyrus, and that excites me because I'm sure that he will. For maybe the first time since I've become a wrestling fan, I have no idea how this will play out. And that excites me.
Yeah, they're definitely building Spud as the David, and the David versus Goliath type feel. But for me, Spud, I don't know, like Spud has all of this energy and he's got the charisma and he's got again, youtube.com/Impact Wrestling, I think is what it is. But it's TNA's official channel and they've got Rockstar Spud. He releases a new video every Wednesday and it's good. It's really entertaining. But what they do with him on Impact, I think makes him too weak. Like where he's carried out like by his belt buckle by Tyrus. He's just like, he was defenseless trying to stop EC3, from shaving JB's head. So I don't know. It's like, it's almost as if they're building him too weak at this point. It's going to be strange to see how he bounces back from that. But the big surprise, the surprise that I think caught most of us off guard was the turning of Eric Young. Eric Young turned his back on Bobby Roode, basically caused Bobby Roode to lose the title in the main event. We also saw the teaming of, Samoa Joe and Low-Ki as they joined forces with MVP and Kenny King. So, you've got obviously the beginning of that new faction. It's kind of hard to see where Eric Young falls there. At first I thought that he had joined that team as well, but, looking back at that, he really was kind of like, isolated. He wasn't necessarily, he didn't come out with them. He just happened to be there around the same time. He didn't leave with them. So it's almost as if Eric Young just went off on Bobby Roode and, we'll find out why. But, did you like that part of the story, Nick?
I did. Both Joe and Low-Ki turning and then EY turning. That was a huge shock for me. I it's not that I don't take EY seriously as a heel, because we know he can do it, world elite, but I definitely wasn't expecting it, given how close he and Rude had been.
Right.
So for them to pull the trigger on that, it definitely interests me. I want to see how this plays out. I want to see if they handle this better than they handled Rude versus Storm, because while that was a great feud while it lasted, it just kind of sputtered out. So I hope it doesn't suffer that same fate. I hope that it resolves conclusively, definitively, and in a way that we can, if not enjoy, then at least respect.
Yeah. Yeah, it should definitely be interesting to see how things play out. I will say this. I mean, obviously there were some things that we could be negative about. Production value seemed to be a little bit down this week. You know, bad camera angles, like we didn't see the JB slap because of a camera mess up. There was the censorship of the crowd, which basically then censored the show. So commentary would break. Mm-hmm. The in-ring segments would break because they would be censoring the crowd. So, you know, hopefully those are all things that they'll improve on. You know, Dixie did say that we wouldn't see much of a change you know, as far as the product goes on this first show. We would see it on the subsequent shows because they would be able to, you know, put more time into the actual production, the post-production. So, you know, while on one hand, yeah, those things were kind of a detriment to the show. They did kind of ruin bits and pieces of the show. Overall, I still think there's a lot of excitement to be had because of the stories that were being told, because of all the new directions that we're seeing. One thing real quick, that there seems to be like two sides as far as, you know, this was awful or this is awesome, but basically how they lit the crowd. And Nick, I'm curious what you think. Do you like the fact that they basically put a spotlight on the ring and that was pretty much all you saw outside of like the first row of fans? Everyone else was in the dark.
I did enjoy that. Clearly TNA listened to the criticisms that David Gilbert of the Talk TNA podcast put out, and they decided instead of focusing entirely on the crowd at the venue, they focused on what was inside the ring so that we could enjoy it as TV fans. But seriously, I do think that was a pretty good decision to kind of focus the attention on the ring. Not that you should shut the crowd out, but I think that was a good way to kind of focus your attention on it. And given the reasons for, the censor popping up, just the crowd not being a good crowd at that point, it's definitely a warranted move, I think. I don't know why Northeastern wrestling crowds can't remember they are on a TV broadcast, and that does hinder the TV product, but
well,
I don't know.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I mean, because there was a lot of chants like that when I was in New York, for Destination X and whatnot. So, those chants did make it on TV. It was kind of, muzzled almost, like you didn't necessarily hear it clearly, but you knew what they were saying. And this was like, they were just dropping audio every few seconds. And I thought that was a bad way to go about it. But I don't think that's a bad,
yeah.
Like, I don't take that negatively towards the fans. You know, the fans are getting into it. That's a great thing. Yes, they're swearing, but it's still a great thing that they're that involved in the show.
You can be that involved and still conduct yourself like a decent human being. I mean,
in New York?
Yeah. Because I don't remember exactly where American Rana was held, but that was a Northeastern wrestling crowd. And when they started getting shut the fuck up chants going, the rest of the crowd turned on them and shut them up.
Well, the wrestlers did as well.
Yeah. I mean, everybody shut that down.
Yeah.
So you can be a responsible person and still enjoy the show. And I do put that more on the wrestling fans than Destination America, because Destination America isn't Spike. I mean, for one thing, they do have a much more family-oriented list of programming. I mean, they've got shows about Disney parks, for God's sake. And yeah, they're new at this. This is the first time it's been on the show or on their channel. There's going to be adjustments made. I doubt they're going to take that route of censoring the audience every time that happens.
Right.
I think they're going to learn from that. And I think that the camera work is going to get better too as they train the new guys up and get them up to speed. So I think it's going to be a little rough production wise initially, but I think it'll smooth out.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they can figure out how to mix the audio better. I mean, it's possible. They mic the crowd with a different mic than they use in the ring. It is possible to, alter the crowd noise, at least bring it down a few decibels. I think
the rest of the shows aren't going to be live either.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I went in with, I don't want to say low expectations. I was super pumped for it. I had heard the Dixie Carter interview on JR's podcast, which was awful thanks to JR. But overall, I mean, that got me excited
terrible.
just to hear Dixie talking about the company. Cause that was just a couple days before Impact, and so many of the TNA fans were pumped, like not just TNAMecca.com, but on our Facebook group and just about everywhere. Everyone was pumped to finally get, TNA back on the TV. So, overall, I enjoyed the show, and I will say that there's one thing that, we've been looking for, and this is something that, David from the Talk TNA podcast, and yes, he can say it a little bit more negatively, but, overall, we've been saying something similar in that, it's been a while since we've walked away from a wrestling event and been thinking, damn, I cannot wait till next week. It's been so long since I've been able to do that. And this week with Impact, I did that. I walked away thinking, I can't believe this is over. Like, shouldn't there be another hour of Impact? What are they doing with EY? I'm so interested now in what TNA is doing. So, I think that's a really good sign. But, okay. Well, we actually had a bunch more things planned for this show, but unfortunately had a lot of technical difficulties to start off. So we're going to hold off some of this conversation until next week. And hopefully we will not have these same technical difficulties, but we'll see. So let's jump into win fail.
Women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here is your win
You do any job,
and fail
is to fucking get paid!
of the week. Joe, what was your win of the week?
My win of the week was a Brock Lesnar appearance. The fact that we actually got to see the champion of the WWE on live TV. I mean, really, that's how often do you get to see that? Once, twice a year?
Seems like
It's
it.
a Bigfoot sighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, your win of the week?
My one of the week was the Raw Alternative test stream. I think that was a solid choice to air. It was a pretty decent show overall. And it definitely I didn't need much temptation to jump away from Raw at that point because I had been watching for an hour and I thought it was 4. So, definitely an easy choice for me. But just for a test stream, I mean, the stream worked out well. It was great wrestling going on. I really enjoyed it. And I think the official stream next week is going to blow that out of the water. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm glad that there are companies out there that again are reaching out and trying to become that alternative to Raw on Monday. We'll see what ends up happening if this is a continual thing. I doubt it, but it would be nice to have like a new company every week kind of step forward and do that. Or, now that NJPW is going to be in the States, it'd be nice for them to have content that is, trying to gain our attention and trying to pull us away from, what we're used to, which is WWE. So, that's nice to see it. It does feel like, companies are trying to show that they can be competitive and they can provide fans with what we've been asking for years. I think that's awesome. My win of the week, outside of that, I'm going to go and again, we didn't really talk about it this week, unfortunately. Lucha Underground, I thought Lucha Underground this week was fine. Not fine, but awesome. Just the fact that, that they're trying different things. The entire show was one match. The entire 1 hour show was one match, and it was to determine the first ever Lucha Underground champion. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that next week, especially because we'll have, the follow up to that as well. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in what Lucha Underground is doing. Wins from the live chat. We've got Impact, Randy Savage being inducted, Puma becoming the first Lucha Underground champion. Spoilers if you're waiting on us to tell you. Diva Jill told you. Randy Savage in the Hall of Fame. Lots of love and wins for that. NXT this week, as well as ROH, TNA, Lucha Underground, Raw Alternative. Another win goes to Impact. There really wasn't a contest as far as just the vibe and energy that Impact brought this week. So totally into that. Fails of the week. Joe?
My fail of the week, it's just going to be that Rusev had a match this week. It just seems stale.
Okay. Nick, your fail?
Raw as a whole seemed stale from what I watched of it. Yeah, like I said before, I felt like I'd been watching for 4 hours when really I had been watching a little over one. It doesn't feel like they're building well to the Rumble. I'm confident that that'll pick up after the Rumble because it usually does. But at this point, beyond the Royal Rumble and the fact that I'm pretty stoked about Rollins being in the title picture, the WWE is not doing a good job of making me care.
Okay, my fail. It's kind of hard to come up with a fail. I mean, I didn't watch WWE this week. I guess fail, just technology fail, goes to Skype and my internet. My internet went down for about 15 to 20 minutes before the show started. So that's what really caused our major delay.
Which gave me time to download a fix for my problems. So.
Yeah. So yeah, we went long in our schedule, even though the show is probably going to be about the same length that it normally is. But yeah, it kind of just threw us through the loop. So, fails from the live chat. We've got, Raw was pretty stale and the douchebag hipster indie wrestling fans. I agree with that. You don't have to be a douchebag. Help me out. Raw got more fails, except for Seth Rollins. I guess everyone's still pretty hot on him. Fail on Rollins, though. Rollins had Lesnar KO'd with Tripp standing right there to give the okay to cash in the case, and they didn't do it. They didn't pull the trigger to put the title on Rollins this week. I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Final thoughts before we move on. Joe?
Sorry to our listeners if they were expecting more of me and didn't get it. I just came back from CES and I'm still catching up and my brain is fried and I didn't really get to watch much. So, but I am looking forward to the Royal Rumble. I am looking forward to Raw Alternative. There's a lot of good stuff coming. So, and apparently now we're going to figure out some time and do commentary over a match, or hell, even a whole pay-per-view. That would be interesting too.
Yeah.
But yeah, people send in your ideas for that. Please make it something on the WWE network that we can actually commentate on, and not one of those like the story of the Ultimate Warrior things.
Yeah, and let me add something to that. We are familiar with WWE stuff. We're even familiar with TNA stuff. If you guys throw like some indie stuff to us, it's not going to be entertaining because there's no way we can get involved in it because we don't know any of these guys. We don't know the stories. We don't know, the build to those matches. So
and we're also
no, fuck that. Throw us indie stuff.
No. Maybe for another time. Right now, let's only do the WWE network because that is readily available for most of our audience.
Throw me indie stuff.
That's what he said.
we'll have two commentary teams. We'll have Joe and I for WWE stuff, and then the B team, which will be Nick and probably Robert Carmichael, or bring him on for this indie stuff.
You'll have JBL and Cole for the WWE stuff, and Tom Phillips and William Regal for everything else.
I don't know which one's worse.
I don't know either.
JBL and Cole, obviously, it's main roster shit.
Shut up, Moggle. All right.
Because the real story here, guys, is
Deuce is saying the Nitro team and the Thunder team.
it's Sunday Night Heat.
All right. So my final thoughts. I've got two. I've got two final thoughts. The first final thought is, I'm kind of curious what would happen if we spent less time on WWE talk on the show. Like, would that turn people off of the FTW podcast? So let us know your thoughts. I mean, it's probably not going to be a consideration, but just thinking, I haven't watched Raw and Nick watched an hour this week. Like, we're really not into it. You guys really aren't into it, but it seems like that's the trend for the IWC to hate on WWE, but still watch. So do you want us to continue to watch and commentate on things, or are you cool with us doing a little bit more talk about indie stuff like Raw Alternative and even NXT or Lucha Underground or whatnot? So give us some feedback either in the YouTube comments or send us a message through Facebook. I know a lot of people have been actually emailing us through Facebook as of late, which is really cool. So yeah, keep doing that through the Facebook page or, whatever. You guys know how to get a hold of us. Just let us know what you think. Okay, and at that point, I lost internet again. That was the trend this week. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Hopefully we can resolve this in the future. But, as of right now, that's the end. That's the show. I had another final thought, but we'll get to it another time. No problem. But yeah, again, send us your feedback if this is a trend you want us to kind of start, focusing on NXT and Lucha Underground because we all like that, or focusing on, TNA more instead of WWE because everyone's so down on WWE. So let us know what you think, and we'll go in whatever direction you guys feel is appropriate. And that's the show. You can go check out FTWpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. And you can join us live each and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on FTWlive.com. Myself, Joe, Nick, everyone in the live chat, thanks again for listening. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Hopefully they'll get worked out by next week. But thank you again for joining in on the conversation. We'll see you next Tuesday. Goodbye.